All right, let's dive right in. What if I told you that an ancient legal rule, something you probably think is just about stamping papers, holds the key to unlocking trillions of dollars in the digital world? It sounds kind of crazy, right? But it's happening as we speak, and honestly, it's about to change, well, everything.
So let's just put the question out there. What if a centuries-old legal officer really is the key to the entire future of digital finance? It seems completely unlikely, but stick with me, because the answer is a serious game changer.
Okay, so here's the problem. On one side, you've got the on-chain world, right? Web3. It's fast, it's innovative, a place where code is law. But it's also like a digital island, and all that amazing value is basically trapped there. Then, on the other side, you have our regular off-chain world, the traditional legal and financial systems. Yeah, they're slow, but they have all the real-world power and recognition. This is the great divide, and bridging it is a multi-trillion-dollar puzzle.
But what if there was a bridge? I mean, a person who could literally stand in both of these worlds at the same time. Well, there is. Enter the Techno Notary.
Now you gotta understand, this is not your average notary who just puts a stamp on a document for $5. No, a civil law notary is something else entirely. Think of them as a public officer, almost like a mini ambassador for the state. They have what's called delegated sovereign powers. That means they can take a private digital agreement and poof, elevate it, giving it the full force and weight of international law. They're a direct extension of the state's authority.
And this isn't just some theory. It's happening right now. You've got people like Clark, who's both a civil law notary and a financial technologist, out there on the front lines. He's literally authorizing the instruments that bridge regular people and their assets into this new world of compliant Web3 finance.
And that brings us to this really cool concept, the AURIC or AW standard. It's a clever play on words. See, AW comes from auctor, which is Latin for authority, the notary's authority. But AW is also the chemical symbol for gold, or aurum in Latin, the timeless standard of value. So this fusion of legal authority and real-world value, that right there is the golden bridge we're talking about.
So, how does this actually work? What does it look like in practice? Well, the first tool in this Techno Notary's kit is something we can call a financial refinery. It's a process for taking assets that are stuck, totally illiquid, and turning them into bankable capital, cold, hard cash.
And the core of that refinery is a process called credit mining. Just imagine you're owed a bunch of money from a court judgment, or maybe a huge unpaid invoice. That piece of paper is a valuable asset, but it's totally locked up. You can't spend it. Credit mining is the revolutionary process of turning that paper into digital, spendable gold.
And here's how simple it is. It's just 4 steps. Step 1, you digitize the claim. Turn that paper into a secure digital record. Step 2, and this is the magic ingredient, a civil law notary authenticates it. They give it real, internationally recognized legal power. Step 3, it's tokenized into a unique digital asset. And finally, step 4, that token can be used as collateral to get funding. The notary is the absolute key that unlocks this entire chain.
And the results? They are absolutely staggering. One firm used this exact credit mining process and got 75% liquidity on a $150 million portfolio of legal judgments. That is over $100 million in cash unlocked in just 90 days. So you see, this isn't theory. This is very real, and it's happening right now.
You know, this idea of creating new, trustworthy forms of value isn't just happening in the high-tech digital world. We're actually seeing a parallel movement at the state level, where states are looking back to the oldest form of money there is, gold and silver, and using it as a modern financial alternative. Okay, quick sidebar before we see how they're doing it. What exactly is legal tender? It's actually pretty simple. It's just any form of money that a government legally says must be accepted to settle a debt. You know that phrase on the dollar bill? That's what it means. And now, states are starting to apply this exact concept to precious metals.
And look, this is a real and growing trend. It's not just a one-off. States like Utah, Texas, Florida, Wyoming, they're all passing laws to make gold and silver legal tender. They're building the infrastructure, like depositories and digital transaction frameworks, to make it a practical, usable alternative to the dollar. It's like a quiet revolution, creating a state-level financial system with a direct link to a real-world physical asset.
But the techno-notary's role isn't just about creating value. It's also about resolving disputes. And they have an incredibly powerful tool for doing that completely outside of the traditional, slow, and expensive court system. It's called a private administrative process.
And its whole goal is to create a legal record that is so perfect, so airtight, so undeniable that when you finally do present it to the public court system, they really have no choice but to enforce it.
The playbook for this is often called the Matthew process, and it's like a simple three-step waltz. First, step A. You send a private notice about the problem, giving the other party a chance to fix it, to cure the issue. Step B. If they don't respond, if they stay silent, their silence is then certified as a default. That creates an incredibly powerful record. And finally, step C. A final determination is made and recorded, all ready for enforcement.
Now, the secret here, the whole strategy, is that you're not going to a court asking them to solve a new dispute. No. You are presenting them with a problem that's already been solved. The record is perfect, the default is crystal clear, and the court's only real job is to enforce the reality that you've already created. It's a total paradigm shift.
So when you start to put all these pieces together, the credit mining, the private remedy processes, you realize this is way more than just a new set of tools. It represents a completely new way of operating in the world. And it points to a fundamental choice we have to make about how we want to govern our digital future.
And it really comes down to two competing worldviews. On one side, you have the public system. This is all about compliance, transparency, having auditable trails, and mitigating liability. You know, playing by the established rules. But on the other side, you have the private system, which often seeks immunity, anonymity, and a world where liability is completely eliminated. These two philosophies are on a major collision course.
And believe me, this is just the beginning. We're seeing the rise of on-chain LLCs. Think of them like digital shipping containers that provide legal wrappers for DAOs. We're seeing syntactical trusts, where AI and trust officers merge to automate compliance. We're seeing the tokenization of all kinds of real-world assets. And right at the heart of it all, the center of this new frontier, is the notary, that critical human bridge connecting our digital assets to off-chain law.
Which leaves us with one final massive question. As this technology allows us to create entirely new forms of value and whole new systems of law, who do we trust to be the ultimate authority? The code, the state, or the individual? The future is unwritten, and that choice is ultimately ours to make.